How's it going, guys? Here we are with the Simp League Season 4 Week 1 versus Slow Dynasty. So, ironically, we're going against a pretty offensive rain team. We have to worry about Swift Swim users such as Overquill, Basque Legion, Beartic. Our Chalodon is going to have one-turn Electro Shots in the rain, and Kilowattrel is going to have perfect accuracy Thunders and Hurricanes. Landorus also looks really annoying into us with sheer force. It's pretty difficult to check it defensively, and with all this rain, I'm not really going to bother trying to outspeed much. Um, we're mostly going for a Trick Room strategy this week, kind of, sort of a hybrid. His only Trick Room setter appears to be Weirdier, and as far as Trick Room abusers go, I can only see Colossal and Beartic really, but I'm expecting Colossal to be Steam Engine if it comes, and for Beartic to have Swift Swim. I suppose Hitmonchan is also an option as well. But overall, I think Kilowattrel seems to be the most annoying thing on this team, since I don't really have a ground type. I don't really have a clear answer for it besides just knock it out before it knocks me out, but we'll see. He has a lot of other threats like, Archelodon, Rillaboom, stuff like that, but I think I have generally solid answers into all of them except for Kilowattrel, I think. Anyways, let's kick things off with Woqian. Honestly, I think it's kind of really good into his team. We can defensively check Rillaboom fairly well. This particular set takes less than 50% from a close combat from an Assault Vest set, and we still live one even if it's out of a choice band. This pretty much completely walls Basque Legion, even with Ice Beam, thanks to Assault Vest. And we're not to hit KO'd by Life Orb, Landorus, Sludge Bomb. If it Terra Poisons, we do take 58 to 70% though, so we do have to watch out for that. As far as moves go, Foul Play is pretty much just a really strong option here. It does around half into Adamant Max Attack Rillaboom. It does around two-thirds to a max HP Ask Legion, and it's honestly just good damage into a lot of things. Pollen Puff is not there as an offensive option at all. It's good into healing something like Registeel or Hydreigon. However, we do have to be careful with Registeel because of our Tablets of Ruin ability, decreasing its attack. So we do have to be mindful of that. Snarl is there to weaken potent special attackers like Landorus, Pelipper, Kilowattrel, Basque Legion. The thing with Kilowattrel, though, is if it has the ability competitive, it could be potentially dangerous. So we should be avoidant of that if we notice in the open team sheet that it has competitive. And lastly, knockoff is useful to remove potentially dangerous items, like, for example, Landorus's Life Orb. Honestly, whatever Rillaboom is holding, I'd kind of want to remove it, I think. To that end, we can probably expect to see a grassy seed coming, so we should be mindful of that. We won't be able to knock it off, obviously, but we should be aware of it going into this. I thought about bringing my own grassy seed, but I wasn't really sure where to incorporate it. Terra Poison is here to reduce damage taken from Rillaboom's superpower or Landorus Sludge Bomb. I was between this and Terra Ghost, but this Terra Poison here also helps us take on Overquill defensively, which might be useful. However, we do now have to worry about Landorus Earth Power, but hopefully one turn of momentum from this terrestrialization is going to be enough. Next up, we have Mousehold. It's going to be the main support Pokemon for the week. I really hope I built it good enough, but we shall see. Obviously, the main move here is Follow Me. This is supposed to be next to an offensive Pokemon like Hydreigon to redirect damage away to give them an extra turn. So it's important that this thing lives for as long as possible. So I gave it an Agua Berry. There were a lot of hits that I could live, but still did at least 62% to me. So I couldn't really live 2 hits, even with a Citrus Berry. So the hope is that I can get off one Agua Berry to live for one more turn. The EV distribution here doesn't really provide me with any like useful benchmarks per se, but I picked 116 special defense EVs because it puts me at 121, and the next lowest option is 119. So basically, I skipped 120, so I figured that was a good spot to put it. Super Fang is there so that I just have an offensive presence. Just being able to get off surprise hits if I need to is really important. I veered away from Population Bomb this week because it's not something I want to be hitting our Chalodon with if it has stamina. Um, Feint is mostly there for insurance. This is probably a weird pick, but basically my thought process was if I really need to knock out a Pokemon this turn, but I'm scared of it protecting, I can just use Feint to just ensure that it goes through. I don't really see myself clicking this, but I can also at the same time see a situation come up where I wish I had it. Um, Terra Steel is mostly here just because it's my main plan for Archelodon is Mousehold plus Hydreigon. So they're both Terra Steel. I don't really intend to terrestrialize a particular one of them, preferably Hydreigon. But the point is, it lets me live the Steel and Dragon hits for Archelodon. Next up is Hydreigon. This is our main offensive answer to Archelodon and Landorus. Earth Power, excuse me, is an easy to hit KO against even an Assault Vest Archelodon, and we don't have to worry about getting hit by Mirror Coat since we're a Dark type. However, if Mousehold is using Follow Me, then obviously it would get hit by a Mirror Coat even if Hydreigon attacked it. Earth Power is also really good into Overquill. It's a clean one-hit KO, and Gunk Shot does around 67 to 80% back to us if it's faster, so we do have to watch out for that. This is another reason why we ran Terra Steel. It just sort of helps against Overquill a little bit. The main plan, like I said, is to pair this up with Mousehold to redirect attacks away so that we can safely take out threats. Our speed investment lets us outspeed a Jolly Overquill by 1 point. I'm kind of expecting it to be Adamant with Swift Swim, but it could be something else, like Intimidate, or it could still be Jolly with Swift Swim, honestly. Unfortunately, though, we do have to run Timid to ensure that we outspeed the Jolly Overquill. If we are Modest instead, then the best we can do is Speed Tie, and I'm not really comfortable with that. I don't want to roll those dice on week 1 against an opponent that I've literally never faced before. So I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to go with Timid, 156. This still like lets it get the job done, even if it's not Modest, thanks to Life Orb. Hydro Pump. This is going to be our main offensive answer to Landorus. Again, easily knocking it out. We are slower than it though, so we have to hope for either Trick Room support or Mousehold support so that we don't take too much damage from it. Immunity to Earth Power is really nice, but we do still fear Focus Blast. Terra Steel, like I said, don't get one shot by Archelodon. It also helps protect us against Fable, which is nice, and we resist Electric before Terra and Flying after Terra, so hopefully this ends up helping out with Kilowattrel as well. And Draco Meteor is just there for a really hard-hitting move, kind of like a last resort or just a big nuke. I didn't really see a need for Dark Pulse, as his only dark weaknesses were Weirder and Basket Legion. Okay, next up is Registeel. Now, this one is a spicy meatball. This is going to be our main Trick Room offense. Slowking can hold its own under Trick Room, but I think Registeel can sort of elevate this to a whole new level. Notice that we're rocking the weakness policy. This is intended to be triggered by Slowking's Earthquake. Um, I know that it has Bulldoze as well, Slowking, but my Clear Body ability prevents it from being slowed down, so I would just be slowing down the opponents for no reason, so I went with Earthquake here. I can obviously take this off of Clear Body, but I don't want to run Light Metal because I'm going to be using Heavy Slam. So I think I would prefer to have Clear Body than Light Metal here. Also, Clear Body protects against Intimidates and other attack drops. Basically, this can be a monster. Heavy Slam is a good stab into a lot of his team. Even outside of the weakness policy boost, it's still pretty solid, I think. Ice Spinner lets us one-shot Landorus handily. It's also really good into Rillaboom and Kilowattrel. And Thunderbolt hits things like Pelipper and Basket Legion. Notice that this set does not help at all against Archelodon, which is a bit of a problem, but everything else should be pretty good, I think. The special defense investment lets us live a Landorus Earth Power, and then the rest is going into defense. 4 attack EVs, just to let it's +2 Ice Spinner be a one-hit KO. And then I had 4 EVs left, so I just threw them into special attack. They really couldn't go anywhere else. We also have Terra Flying to help us more against Landorus. If we're not under Trick Room, we can dodge an Earth Power that way. And, excuse me, going along with that, this is Slowking, Registeel's partner. We have Cobra Cloak plus Oblivious to protect against both flinches and taunts, just to ensure that Trick Room comes off. This way, we're also slower than Registeel, so that the next turn we can immediately Earthquake it first thing, so that Registeel is already at +2 for a full turn. Ice Beam here is just going to be our offensive move. It one-shots Landorus without any investment at all, and then just protect so he can stay on the field for longer. Terra Ground is here, just random option against Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel is kind of annoying into this lead, especially if it has like Volt Absorb and we can't hit it with Thunderbolt. We do have Ice Spinner, but Ice Beam is just another offensive option. If we're not next to Registeel, for example, it's good into a solid amount of his team. And last but not least, we have Mienshao, an offensive Pokemon. Having Fake Out seems pretty important as it can help us gain momentum. One particular lead that I'm worried about is Kilowattrel plus Landorus. Kilowattrel is then able to freely spam discharges, and Landorus can spam rock slides, and this seems really effective against me. Like I said, I don't have any ground types, so it's hard for me to handle Kilowattrel. So my plan is, if I anticipate that, to bring the in-shell and wide guard to upper hand here is there to try to stop Rillaboom from using Grassy Glide, and close combat is just there for damage. Before our Chaladon gets any stamina boosts, close combat does over 2/3 to it still, so it's really strong. Even if it does have defense boosts, it can still sort of do a lot to it. And this right here, we're fast enough just to outspeed Landorus. Even though it only takes 30% from our close combats, that might end up being important. Obviously, Focus Sash just to ensure that we can survive for longer than a turn. And Terra Steel here is just good against his team generally. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, I'm still pretty new to this. So if there's any glaring mistakes that I made, oh, maybe I should have, put a heal pulse on here or helping hand or something like that, or another offensive move. If you think I'm just doing something suboptimally, again, feel free to help me out in the comments. Just be sure to keep it constructive. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys.